Hey everyone, welcome back to Black on the Platform Live, where we spotlight Black entrepreneurs, authors, and leaders who are moving the culture forward and making wellness, wealth, and wisdom more accessible to our communities. I'm your host, Jen S., founder of Black on the Platform, your go to directory and community for Black owned businesses. If it's your first time joining us, drop your name and where you're tapping in from. And to our returning viewers, we see you, we appreciate you, and we're so glad you're part of this movement. Welcome back. I am so excited today. I have the pleasure of, let's see if I can see our comments in the chat. Okay. I have the pleasure of our two guests today. I met them in Atlanta at the All Black National Convention. Okay, there we are. Hey Mia, thank you for confirming. I'm like, I need to know you're able to respond in the chat. Mia was there with me. She actually knows Errol Sr. and Errol II personally. And hey Natasha, welcome. So, and I have a picture of the three Errols, Errol Sr., Errol II, and Errol C. Mangle all together. So I would love to let me bring you forward. So each of you are going to start by introducing yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do. And we'll start with Errol Sr.
Okay. Good evening. Well, from the Eastern time zone, good evening. Jen, thank you for having us on your program. It's a great honor, and it's good to see you as always. My name is Errol Parker Sr. I am a husband of 33 years. I'm a father of two adult children, one of which will be on this call. And I'm a business owner, CEO and co-founder with my wife Yvonne of EY Parker Companies. We are a private conglomerate with businesses within the healthcare space, logistics, finance, entertainment, assets, and we also have a not-for-profit, not a 501c3 foundation where we do some good for the community. Again, I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
And Errol II.
Hey everyone, I am Errol Parker II. I am the Director of Investment Strategy at EY Parker. I head over our assets, entertainment, and foundation divisions. So thank you, Jen, for having us on this platform.
All right. It is my honor and privilege to have you both. And as I was saying in the chat, Mia was like, yes, we go to the same church. We are one big family. Errol C. Mangle's in the chat. He's saying peace from the A, which means he's not in Florida. He must be at the networking event that we were talking about before we jumped
Yeah.
on. Some powerhouses in their own right. And Andrea says something about those arrows bringing great life lessons. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. So right now, all three of us get to be on the screen, but I'm going to alternate between each of us as we can focus on the speaker. So let's start with Errol Sr. So you've built a true powerhouse through EY Parker Companies, spanning logistics, healthcare, entertainment, and investing. We've seen you share space with your son, Errol II, on Dr. Boyce's morning show, Money in the Morning, as well as the Black Family Conference hosted by Lawrence Watkins. So, what was the original vision that set you on this path? And did you ever imagine it would grow to this scale?
Hmm. That's a good one. I'll give you the condensed version because my wife is challenging me that we need to start talking about writing a book. So that'll come one day. But anyway, I would take it back to as early as 2016, which was interesting. I'm not a big social media person, but I happen to be on Facebook, and I was scrolling through, and it was some young brother that came on the timeline, and he said something to the effect of, wealthy people obtain their wealth in one of three or a combination of these three ways: real estate, business ownership, and stock investment. And of course, that individual was Dr. Boyce Watkins. It was really interesting how that all materialized. It was right around that same time where my wife, who is, and I have to give credit where credit is due, she is actually the visionary behind logistics and healthcare. So I have to give her credit, and one day we'll have an opportunity to introduce her and talk with her as well. But it was around that time in 2016, right around the same time as Dr. Boyce, where she said, "Hey, you know what? We need to really consider going into the entrepreneur space for various reasons." But she had lobbied for a logistics opportunity. Now, of course, when I first heard that, it didn't resonate with me because my background and my education has always been technology with a minor in business and how technology undergirds business. So the logistics thing did not connect. But quite honestly, in order to appease her, I said, okay, let me research it a little bit. And it turned out to be an incredible opportunity, a strong capital base that allowed us to venture off into other spaces. So I have to give her credit for that. Now, in 2017, Dr. Boyce was interviewing Dr. Claude Anderson, and he had talked about those three opportunities that wealthy individuals pursue. And Dr. Claude Anderson agreed with him, but then he added his own element. And he said, I agree with those three, but there's a fourth. And that fourth way is by investing into other people's startups or burgeoning businesses, primarily as GPs or LPs. And that resonated as well, which led into our finance company, which I'll let my son go into since he oversees that. But it really started in that space. I have to give, like I said, my wife credit for the visionary side on logistics and healthcare. And it just grew into an incredible opportunity where we just spanned into so many other areas, and we're able to make some significant impact. So that was really the impetus behind it.
All right, I love that. And I'm gonna keep popping back and forth between the three of us across the screen. So Errol the second, you're on camera again. But I wanted to say that so the dutiful husband paid off because she definitely poured into you that vision, and I love that. And then you have these great influences like Dr. Watkins and Dr. Claude Anderson. I think that is so special and phenomenal. And I'm going to encourage our viewers to drop in the chat what see if I can multitask. There we go. What vision are you building for your future self or your family? And you can drop one word that captures your why in the chat as we continue. So, hey, Terry. So, with such a broad portfolio, how do you ensure that each company reflects your core values of service, excellence, and empowerment?
I take it that's a question for me.
It is, yes.
Okay, fair enough. So there's a principle that we kind of repeat, and I'll state it, and then we can kind of fit it for where we're going with this. It says that the characteristics of the kingdom emanate from the character of the king. Now, I'm not saying that kingship and things like that, but if you just take it to the business level, the characteristics of the company emanate from the character of its leader. So, in taking on the responsibility as the CEO of the company, it's important that I lead authentically and with some model of respectable behavior, and I want to make sure that that is something that is implemented or at least I should say, followed by the rest of the team. And of course, the acronym in team is together, everyone achieves more. That team starts with the family. So we make sure that we are very consistent in the way in which we approach things, making sure that who we are externally is who we are internally, not living sort of these unauthentic or duplicitous life, but we're integral and whole in how we approach things. Not saying everything's perfect, but the intention is always there. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that as you grow out that team and you start bringing people that are not necessarily family members, but you're looking for those like-minded individuals that possess the character and the talent, but at the same time they remain teachable. They remain somewhat moldable, where they can conform to the values that we talked about with service excellence and empowerment. So it starts from leadership and it works down, and we try to make sure that we are speaking the same language that we are modeling the behavior consistent with that model. That's the ultimate goal.
That's beautiful. And I see Andrea wrote in the chat, wealth sustainment. Natasha says legacy. Can you guys see the comments now that we're live? You are able
Yes, I
to.
can see
Okay.
it.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful. So, yes, team, together everyone achieves more. And I'm going to give one more question to Errol Sr., and then I'm going to hand it off to Errol the second. So, you made a point to serve the community, not just through business, but through impact. Why is it important to you to build wealth and legacy through this sort of giving that you're speaking of?
All right. So this one hits home close, I should say, and I'll give shout out to Mia Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn, New York. At least the headquarters in Brooklyn. But faith is key for me. I'm unapologetic about my Christian faith, and it really influences the way in which I navigate and way I move. So we have family core values as well. Our family core values are simple in that they are faith, family, and fulfillment. All right. Now, fulfillment is expressed in several ways. It's expressed in our health. It's expressed in our education, or at least the pursuit of knowledge. It's expressed in wealth, wealth creation, but also wealth preservation. And finally, and to the point of this question, is expressed in goodwill. What's the sense of accumulating all of this if you're not doing something besides profiting? That's that component. There's a portion of scripture. I don't want to go into the biblical lane, but you asked me, so I'm gonna put it out there.
Yes, I did.
It's found in Romans. I'll just paraphrase, but I don't have to go into the exact scripture. But it talks about the strong have a responsibility to help and support those who are less fortunate instead of living selfishly to satisfy their own desires. And it says that the Christian faith centers on helping others. And that just speaks to what we're looking to do. And I never believe that profiting and helping are mutually exclusive. They're not. You can do both. In fact, the way the faith works is doing something has a reciprocal effect. You do bad, don't be surprised when bad comes back. But conversely, you do good, and that good should return as well. So it's in our best interest to approach it from that perspective anyway. But so the whole point in the giving aspect, it just speaks to who we are. Goodwill is a part of our core value system, and we want to make sure that that's an intentional effort, not something we just stumble upon.
I love that. And I have to say, having had Dr. Alicia Watkins on the show, one of the things we talk about is personal standards, being intentional with those personal standards. And it sounds to me like your family guidelines are rooted in those personal standards that is really tied to your faith. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful testimony. I put in the chat, name one value that guides your business or personal journey. For the viewers, we want to see those in the chat. So please share. And of course, Mia said, "Amen, Errol. I love my CCC family." And so we are so happy to have you here. Now I'm going to switch gears over to Errol the second. You're clearly stepping into leadership with your own powerful voice. You're leading investment strategy at EY Parker Assets, and you co-founded EY Parker Entertainment. What's your driving passion for investing and storytelling?
They're a little similar but different ways. I'll speak first on the investing side. I got into venture capital, and one of the biggest stats that stood out to me was that 99% of VC dollars go towards white male founders, and less than 1% go to Black founders. And I feel like it's important for us on the EY Parker asset side that we're investing to sort of like level the playing field and give other Black entrepreneurs the opportunity to like see their businesses grow and scale with dollars, because the minority has just as great business ideas as the majority. The minority just doesn't have access to funding, and EY Parker is here to kind of bridge that wealth gap together. On the storytelling side, I believe it's important for individuals and audiences to hear and understand other people's perspectives. And with that, when you understand someone else's perspective and where they're coming from, you're sort of able to develop empathy with certain communities in regards to their culture, value system, family structure. And when you only see one type of story being portrayed on screen, you're kind of siloed in your thinking about that group or community. So with EY Parker, we're here to tell diverse stories and give people, audiences, different perspectives on how, why a community acts the way they do, why they speak the way they do, and in doing so, you're sort of uniting audiences alike and together, and that's what we want to do with. That's kind of like my driving passion behind portraying certain stories on screen for through EY Parker Entertainment.
I love that. And I have to say that your why is similar to my why for Black on the Platform. And so we are definitely aligned there. And I know you mentioned the VC. And so my next question ties into that. VC, for those who don't know, is venture capital. I didn't know when I saw HBC VC. HBCU VC is historically Black colleges and universities venture capital. So you also bring experience from JP Morgan, venture capital, HBCU, VC. How has that journey shaped your approach to entrepreneurship and legacy building?
Well, I'll definitely say that coming from, I was in the private bank at JP Morgan. And for those who don't know, the private bank, you are bankers who service the ultra high net worth individuals. And specifically for JP Morgan, that was $25 million and higher, individuals and their families. So through that, we worked with a lot, majority of them outside of like celebrities from who've developed their fortunes from real estate or through entertainment or sports. A lot of the clients we worked with were founders who had already successfully exited, created companies, and are just sitting on all of their funds. So I was able to see the founders reap the benefits of their hard work and sort of just sit back and let their money make money for them. So that was like the first thing in the private bank that I saw. And when I was looking to pivot, I made my way up to an associate. I wasn't as passionate about wealth management, so I was looking to pivot somewhere else, and I came across venture capital. And upon my research, and for those who don't know, venture capital is a very big relationship heavy industry where in order to break into it, it requires knowing somebody. And so I came across HBCU VC. And what they do is they help Black talent develop, and they find them and help them immerse Black talent within the venture capital space. So I heard about it through a friend from Morehouse. I'm a Morehouse man myself. For those who don't know, shout out the house. And I he told me about this fellowship program through HBCVC. So I eagerly joined. I was fortunately accepted in. And what they do is they prep you for 10 weeks prior to you starting your internship with a VC fund. So they taught me how to conduct due diligence, evaluate certain companies, how to source founders, read term sheets, and understand capitalization tables. And so I was well equipped before starting my internship with this impact fund called Black Tech Nation Ventures. And an impact fund is are investors who first who invest in founders who meet diversity like criteria. So they must be Black, women, brown founders first before they even take a look at their company. And when I joined them that summer, I had a fantastic time. I Every day it didn't feel like work. It felt like professional Shark Tank. And for those who don't know, Shark Tank is a TV show where founders and entrepreneurs come in and pitch their companies, and that's what I dealt with throughout my entire summer. I had all these smart, incredibly talented founders coming and pitching to us companies in every industry from AI to software to consumer product and goods. And it was incredible. I enjoyed it a lot. So once that internship ended, I wanted to remain in venture capital. And at the time, most of the offers I were getting were for wealth management. And given that I wanted to remain in venture capital, that didn't really align with my interest. And then after around that time, my parents were ramping up the our urgent care, which we recently opened in earlier this year in 2025. And I noticed we've always invested My father and I, through it was mostly a buy and hold strategy to generate capital appreciation. And I noticed we were sitting on all this cash, and we're very big on diversifying our assets. I said, Dad, why don't we start investing in early stage founders as angel investors, writing people a check. Writing founders a check that can help them, carry their businesses over the next hump and help them hire sales teams and technical employees and really help them grow. And he loved the idea, and I slowly began sending companies my dad's way. And after a while, he's like, we need help with like operations and other due diligence within our EY Parker companies. Why don't you just join us full time? And I said, heck yeah, like why not? It sounds like a great idea. I can work for my family, and one of the benefits of it is that I'm not working for the man, as they say. I'm working for my parents, and having the dollars circulate within my family sounded like a great opportunity. So I was fully on board.
Whew, that's heavy. I mean, you got started early, you built a strong network, you were able to dive into the investment world through early exposure to the venture capital. I feel like, used it as a tool for economic empowerment that benefited your family as you started these endeavors with the EY companies. Um, just really very impressive. And I have to say, speaking to both of you, I feel like I'm speaking to intellectuals. You're both very well spoken and intelligent, and it is such a privilege to have these stimulating conversations. So, before I open it up to either of you, I'm going to ask Errol the second this other question. So, what is it like
Yeah.
being part of the family business while also carving your own lane, so to speak?
Like I mentioned earlier in my previous answer, it's one that the money's being generated and it's going back to us, but not just me. It's going to be we're creating a legacy where it's going to be passed down to my kids and my grandkids and so on. So the fact that I'm a part of creating generational wealth is one of the biggest honors and pleasures to have. So and I think at the same time, I'm the carving my own path part is really sticks out for me because I'm able to create a foundation first that's going to carry down through like oral history and our family's history when they can speak about what the things I've did and the opportunities I've created for others is a badge of honor that I like to wear. So, but it's really great working with my family.
That's awesome. And it sounds to me like you guys are going to have to write a story about your own story in one of your entertainment films because it is phenomenal. And so keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely a business with a purpose in many different avenues. So this question is for whoever feels it suited them the best. The Prime UC recently did free health screenings in Long Island, and I think that's truly powerful. Why is accessible care such a priority in your healthcare mission? And you kind of hit on it earlier, but I'd like to open it up to who'd like to take it, and we can all three stay on the screen.
Yep, son, I'll delve into this one. All right, you can definitely fill in any gaps. So, as I
Mhm.
mentioned before, one of our family core values is health. So that speaks to the urgent care experience, as in particular to the healthcare screenings that we recently performed in the community. I have to give shout out to my daughter. This was her idea, so kudos to Esprit. So the mindset behind it is, we want to ensure where we're currently situated. It's a hybrid community, so in the immediate radius, it is less wealth, more impoverished in nature, and then as you expand, it gets into some of the more affluent neighborhoods. But in that immediate radius, it's almost like a healthcare desert.
Mm.
So what we wanted to do is we're doing two things. And again, going back to what I said before, I don't believe profiting and giving are mutually exclusive. They can be accomplished together.
Nice.
So, as my son mentioned, we opened our doors in May of this year for the first urgent care. We're talking about the second one as we speak, but the first one is open. And as we're trying to grow the business from the ground up and becoming familiar with our community and things of that nature, we want to provide accessible free services, but at the same time, hey, we want to get to know the community so they'll know that there is a trusted resource where they can take care of not just their needs but their family and the greater community. So it was great just seeing people come out there who would not, and also the community has sort of that migrant hybrid effect as well, where people are not overly comfortable given the current administration. So it was a safe place where people can just check their vitals. Hey, how's my temperature? How's my pressure? How's my oxygen level? All those types of things. And if we had something that was a little bit more alarming, we simply say, hey, why don't you come in? We can take a look at you. We can talk about some things and that effect. So it was a great resource for the community, but at the same time, it was a marketing opportunity for the business. So,
Absolutely.
now we have another branch of customers who would not ordinarily be comfortable stepping into a space like ours. And our space is a little different. It's not the typical urgent care. It's my, and I always give credit where credit is due. My wife came up with a slogan, and it says that your healing begins when you enter in. So when they come into the space, you don't think that you're in a health facility. It looks like a medi spa, with the flowers and the plants and all the other things, the music, the ambiance,
Um,
because it's a different. We don't want you just to think you're coming in there for a medicinal relief, rather. I should
right.
say. There's a wellness component as well. So it's a whole other, it's a different experience. We talk about Prime UC in a much greater level at another time. But to go back to your original question, we were just looking to make that connection with the community, letting them know, hey, we are here for you if needed, and that was the whole idea behind it.
I think that's beautiful, and it sounds like you're restructuring or redefining what it is to get healthcare in the community, and I think that aspect of trust is so important when we're sharing something so personal as our health. And I want to encourage our viewers in the chat to share as well. Why does health matter to you and your household? And let us know in the comments here. And I see, a lot. It does sound. Andrea says it sounds like a Dr. Alicia Boyce method, and I couldn't agree more. I think we, being B1 family, all agree with some of the intentionality and the mission to support our Black community, and especially with healthcare. I think that is just so commendable. Um, so we have more to come. The EY Parker Foundation is coming soon. Can you share your hopes for how this will impact Black and Latino youth?
Son, you want to delve into that one?
Yeah, I'd love to. So with the foundation overall, we plan on launching different programs and initiatives, but our main mission is to really give our youth an opportunity to grow, matriculate, and learn about, how to go through college, apply, centering, shedding us, creating a spotlight on HBCUs. A lot of students don't know about, historically Black colleges and how the safe space that they create and learning more about their history. We plan on doing a scholarship program, which we will be launching for in the beginning of 2026 for high school seniors within the Long Island and Brooklyn area, for underrepresented and diverse youth. So again, the core mission is really just giving others an opportunity to grow, learn more about themselves, and leave them, and basically like just pay it forward and hoping that we inspire them enough where they want to do the same for somebody else after them.
That's beautiful. From healthcare to education, you just don't stop giving. I love it. And then there's more. There's the EY Parker assets, and you're backing early stage startups. What do you look
Yeah.
for in founders and ventures when deciding to invest?
Good question. So, overall, we're pretty industry agnostic, meaning we're not really tied to a specific vertical or sector. We most of the time lean towards software, but we like AI, consumer product goods, such as like food or we like as well like just software, like I mentioned. And for when it comes to founders specifically, we like founders who have a deep expertise of the market that they're trying to push the product in.
Mm.
And then as well, we like founders who are already getting started with strategic partnerships and LOIs, or for those who don't know, letter of intents, where they're partnering with certain businesses or a customer base because we want to see a demand there for that market. And strategic partnerships kind of help us evaluate them, because a lot of these companies are pre-revenue. So when you're not developing a certain cash flow, it can be much harder to conduct some type of due diligence. This is kind of the framework we abide by. And then last but not least, we like your team is very important, outside of not just who's working for you, but who are your advisors on your board, because when we see other industry leading experts that are invested in this company, it lets us know, okay, it reassures us that there's a commitment to backing this team. So that's kind of what we look for, just founders with a deep expertise in their market, strategic partnerships that they've already created, like their traction and who are customers going back and using their products, and as well as the team and the advisors sort of like supporting the founders on this journey.
So I am in the early stages startup myself. So it sounds like I need to do my due diligence before I bring myself over to get some of your expertise. I better do my homework if I want some of your insights. And yeah, it's awesome. Um, so let's circle back to EY Parker Entertainment. What kind of
Yeah.
stories are you most passionate about bringing to the screen?
I guess personally for me, because I was speaking earlier about, it's important to develop like perspectives and empathize with other communities. I really love coming of age stories. And when people normally hear coming of age, they think of, middle school or high school kids finding themselves. But I've, recently learned I'm going through a second coming of age. I didn't get started diving into my passions really until I was around 26 years old. And even even going further and deeper, my father launched EY Parker Logistics at the age of 50. You're never stop learning about yourself, and you're never going to stop improving. So I feel like with coming of age stories, I want audiences to leave inspired. And even sometimes they might not see like good people on screen, but also learning from morally conflicted characters of what not to do. And because movies should be like an escape where for 2 hours or underneath that, you sort of like fall into the world of whoever you're
Yeah.
watching, and your personality becomes attached to the world you've been immersed in. And I hope that once they leave, that they can feel, like I mentioned, like inspired and ready to take on any obstacle or adversity. So I typically lean towards coming of age stories, but as of now, because we're getting our feet wet, we're all about telling any type of story, whether it's a documentary, a short film, feature, ranging from action, sci-fi, comedy, romance. It really just depends on, again, similar to how we vet founders, the director and writer and their commitment to the project itself.
So speaking of the director, writer, and the project, how do you balance cultural integrity and commercial success in this entertainment space? I know that can be challenging.
Yes, and another good question. As of right now, because like we're really just first time diving into this space, we don't I won't say care, but we don't focus too much on the financial return for movie
Okay.
projects as opposed to like our angel investments in startups. Like in that space, we want to 10x to 100x our return. But because the filmmaking industry, it is hard to make money back on commercially on certain projects. We sort of focus on the cultural side of it because we care more about the social clout or equity we'll get in return. And what does that look like? It means getting invited to festivals, being in rooms, meeting other prominent directors and writers. So we're hoping that these films can kind of launch us in a platform, put us in rooms with other individuals who are already on that path and carving names for themselves.
That really answers my next question about what this storytelling means for our community's future, because you do see a vision. Do you want to speak a little bit on that? And I'm also going to drop a question in the chat. If your business had a movie title, what would it be? Drop it in the chat.
It's a good
All right.
question.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, when it comes to like, movie making, we're just hoping down the road that we because there's not a lot of Black production companies. A lot of production companies that are started are from celebrities who are already famous and worked hard to get to a certain level, from Denzel Washington to Spike Lee to Michael B. Jordan. They were already famous, but it's rare where, we have a production company just starting out. So I think it's important that when people see us, they see that, oh, we can create opportunities for other individuals. A lot of it focuses on just paying it forward and giving creators and founders a space where they can kind of help them grow their ideas from the ideation stage, which is the infancy level, all the way to success, and help them see it to fruition. So we're hoping that the legacy we leave with our projects are others who think all it takes, honestly, is for you to see someone else do it and you feel that you can do it too. And that's how it should be. So that's sort of the legacy we want to bring, and just inspire other people that they can, be producers as well, and, create projects and have the funding needed to do so.
I love it. The EY Parker companies truly reflect a family led movement. It's not just companies, there is a growth movement happening here. And we
Yes.
heard it here that Yvonne Parker, your wife, Errol Sr., leads the EY Parker Foundation and brings so much strategic vision to the philanthropic work. And your daughter, what's your daughter's name? It's
Esprit. Esprit.
Esprit. Esprit. She runs the operations for both logistics and healthcare. So we're scaling job creation and care. So, what has it meant to build something so impactful as a family? And how do you balance roles, responsibilities, and relationships in this process? And I'll just give it to Errol Sr.
Sure. What does it mean? The impact? I don't think words can describe. It's incredible to be in a position that, frankly, it's too rare within our communities. We read about these great stories of other communities, and like, wow, that's incredible. It becomes something that has almost become fictionalized, and fanciful. But here we are actually living it out. And I'm not to say that we're by ourselves. There are other strong Black communities, families doing this as well. But unfortunately, we have become sort of the exception, not the norm. So I take none of that for granted. And I'm extremely grateful to be in this position. And also, with adult children, and I'll just touch on this real quick. Time flies. You remember when they were young and your world, we were everything in their world. But as they get older, that changes.
Yeah.
So one of the side byproducts and benefits of it is that we get a chance to spend so much more time together because they're adults in their separate lives. But here we are, we have to interact, whether they want to or not. We have to interact on a regular basis. So I don't take that for granted. My daughter, putting her stuff out here, she's recently engaged. So
Congratulations. The
so
family's
next year,
growing.
yeah, yeah, next year we'll be celebrating a wedding. Having to plug in another Morehouse man. You know,
Okay, okay.
fine guys. Come from that lineage. But going back to the original point, we don't take that for granted. Being able to work with family now, however, can become a challenge if you don't set the rules in place where you balance out what is family and what is business. So, as it pertains to business, it's important that we adhere to strict disciplines around schedules, around results, around timelines, making sure that we're respecting the business and cooperating within the corporate disciplines that we speak about. So there is a very fine line, and there's a principle that is called, it's stated, balance is the key to life. So
Mm,
it's very important that we employ the balance between work and play. Both are important, but it's got to be very careful that they don't cross each other's boundaries. So we're very strategic in, the technologies that we employ. We're very strategic on having our regularly scheduled staff meetings, very strategic on having our board meetings, using certain books in terms of guidance. Like there's a book, I know some of you may be familiar with it. It's called Traction by Gino Wickman. It's based on quantifying results, and that's required reading for us, to make sure that we are doing certain things that, work within a corporate structure and within corporate discipline. So it's incredible working with
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Lost your
You went,
dad.
yeah, you went out there for a minute.
Am I
Okay.
back?
You're back.
Yeah, yeah.
You were
Okay.
saying
Where
it's
did you?
incredible. It's incredible.
Okay, so it's incredible being able to work with family, but at the same time, we have to make sure that we have the disciplines in effect so that we don't cross those boundaries. Work is work, play is play. We enjoy both.
And your daughter's giving a shout out in the chat. Love
I
you,
see that.
Dad. I love it. I love it.
I
So,
see
so
that.
it sounds like you run a tight ship. No CPT. You got to be there on time. You can't. So, who's giving the homework? Who's giving the readings? Who's just is school still in session? Are you the professor of?
We all we all, the core value of education within fulfillment, we all adhere to it, so we all bring something to the table. My wife is really strong on, scouring certain things on social media and making sure that we're following certain things, so we all contribute. It's a team. It's literally a team effort.
I love that because I don't
And
know
just
if
to
you.
piggyback
Yeah, go ahead.
just for a second off of my dad, we do a great job of holding each other accountable too. When it comes to doing certain like deliverables and tasks, it helps us all remain on one page and as a unit before we enter meetings, when we debrief, and when we go into other rooms. So accountability is really big amongst our family.
I love that. So I'm not sure if you've heard before that I homeschool my kids.
Okay.
But as a yeah, no. So as a homeschool mom, as I was preparing for today's interview, my younger daughter was in here with me reading aloud Kubla Khan, and I'm trying to focus on the interview questions, but I'm also trying to listen to her read aloud. And then right before we got on, she had to do a retell of what her reading was, and we do these often, check in, and so it's hard to juggle all these roles, but I can't imagine they're gonna want to hear me tell them that they have more homework for our business outside of homeschool. Like, oh, it's just the beginning, you guys. We're taking notes from the Parkers, and we're gonna be doing this book too. They're gonna love it. But no, I think it's phenomenal that you hold each other accountable and that you are always learning and that there's always more to come. It keeps you I'm sure it keeps that momentum going for all of you. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I'm gonna add another question in the chat for our viewing audience. I like to keep it interactive. Who in your family inspired your work ethic or leadership style? You can tag or shout them out in the chat. And I think it's so cool that Esprit was here to pour love into the family. We'll have to bring you back for all four for sure, because, like you said, we barely touched into the prime UC, but we have our father son dynamic this evening. And so I want to know what it's like working together as father and son, and what do you admire most about each other in business?
I
All right,
I
so now,
can I think.
go ahead.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'll
No,
speak
no, no, no.
first. I
Go
Go ahead.
ahead, Errol, the second.
All right. I think my father's one of like the smartest individuals I've met, lived with. So it gets me an opportunity to learn closely about how to move not just as a man but as a father and sort of like business ideas. So like he mentioned about spending a lot of like time with each other because coming from JP, a lot of my coworkers we spend more times with each other than our families, and so now transitioning working with the family, I get to learn a lot underneath his tutelage, and he passes down a lot of like great advice for me. So I love learning. So it's just constant just learning what to do underneath him, and as I set my own path. So I enjoyed a lot, and we have great
Oh,
stimulating conversations.
that must make your heart do good, Errol Sr. Just it warms my heart. It really
Yeah,
does.
yeah. Again, I don't take any of that for granted. We know of relationships or familiar relationships that kind of sour over the course of time. So I'm grateful that I have an excellent rapport with both of my children. As it pertains to working with him, what's interesting is seeing him as this this young man, but actually this boy who grew and seeing how the information exchange for the most part when he was younger was one direction. But now as he's older, it's bi-directional. And in some regard, I'm learning more from him. And I'm just ecstatic about that. So seeing him grow and see his discipline in the business world, I model. I want to model that behavior.
That's
So
beautiful.
I take none of that for granted.
It's
Sharp dude. Sharp.
beautiful. Yeah. And your wife is chiming in the chat. She's congratulating me on homeschooling. Thank you. She said I'd love to for my future grands to be homeschooled. And I was just thinking about you, Miss Parker. I was like, I hope Yvonne writes a book on parenting because you or the pair of you co-create this book because you talked earlier about writing a book and I would love to take, the Parker Notes version of how to raise two phenomenal children because your children love you, they work with you. It is a testimony. It is not easy raising kids. And I think, you're doing such an amazing job that it's inspiring. That alone is inspiring me. So I'm curious what conversations or traditions helped shape your family's mindset, either around leadership, wealth, or togetherness.
I'll jump on that one, son. You can follow if you want to. I have to go back to the base, which is the faith base, and it comes from my Christian faith and what Scripture affirms about family and legacy, wealth, and things of that nature. People don't realize that the Bible has over 1,400 verses that talk about wealth. 4% of the Bible talks about wealth. So but it's done from the right perspective, one where you can grow and build, but never losing responsibility of those who may be slightly less fortunate. So when you have that type of foundation, it kind of helps us, navigate these spaces the right way. So it starts there, theologically, and there's a portion of scripture in Proverbs, 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but that inheritance is not just money. It's core values, it's discipline, it's wisdom, all the things necessary, vital for building a solid foundation for you, your children, and your progeny that doesn't even exist yet. So that's where it starts. But practically speaking, I said it before, and I'll be real quick here. I have to give Dr. Boyce his credit. 2016, he kind of gave that 30,000 foot of the three ways, and that took the theological, made it practical, and then we just implemented some operational excellence supported by my wife and her vision in certain areas and stuff like that, and we took it from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. And a fun fact, the curriculum that I homeschool my children is called Ambleside Online. It is a classical Christian education. And so my eldest daughter has just decided that our family is going to be doing family Bible study. And
Love it.
when right, and
Nice.
when I was leading Bible study with my aunts and my cousins with the Johnson family, which you can read all about on my Black on the Platform about us. But my grandfather was a reverend and he preached until he was 97. He passed at 99. And
Wow.
so I never really push any type of faith on my children. My mom's side of the family is Jewish, and then my daughter growing up always identified as Jewish, and then she recently said that she'd like us to start Bible study, and she wanted to. She was using the Torah, and she said she needed the rest of the Bible. And so we ended up I got her the New Testament and now she's starting at Genesis and
Hmm.
going through from the beginning of the Old Testament through to the New Testament, and she wants, her dad listening in, her sister there, and her little sister's asking questions, and I'm there, and I feel like I modeled that by leading Bible study with the Johnson family, and
Hmm.
now she's sort of emulating what I did, and she's got her highlighter and she's taking notes. She drew a picture, and it's fascinating and it's amazing to see her do it on her own. And
I
so
love
yeah,
it.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, just one
Yeah.
insertion just to compliment you, our testament is the Judeo-Christian faith.
Yes.
So it builds, one builds on the other.
Yes.
God bless you and compliments to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And when people ask me, how do you raise your kids? I say with Judeo-Christian doctrines. And that's truly what I've done. And so it shows in their character and in who they are becoming as people. And so I thought, yes, I thought Miss Parker, Yvonne, I thought you might appreciate that as well. So I know we're going over time and I have more questions, but I don't want to I mean, can we bring you back with Yvonne and Esprit and have another go around because
Absolutely.
I don't want to lose this wonderful conversation. But I do want to ask one more question for families watching, especially those with dreams of building across generations. What's your advice for starting, scaling, and staying connected?
Oh, wow. First off, I think my son already hit on it when he said, we started this entrepreneur effort when I turned 50. So by saying that, it's never too late. It's literally never too late. So
Agreed.
have your dreams, set your goals. Write them down, write the vision, make it plain. Meditate, speak to yourself, speak those things. We believe in the explosive power of the word. The
Yes.
world was created by simply saying "light be," and it just started from there. So we have that same type of creative opportunities within the words we speak, which simply means, I have an opportunity to speak life or death. I choose to speak life, and we should have that mindset in what we do. Um, don't be afraid of mistakes. We all make mistakes. Learn from the mistakes. All right, but just as important, when we have those wins, even small, celebrate those wins. And
Yes.
50 years from now, you'll just look back and just say, "Wow, look at what we were able to do within this portion of time." So start, never give up, and you just keep your mind right on the things that you're looking to accomplish.
I love that. Errol the second, did you want to add anything there? Your dad pretty much
Um,
said it
I
very well.
I second, no pun intended, all of what he said. So
I love that. That's too cute. So my previous guest last week, Derek McKeith, he just dropped a new video that he shared with me yesterday, and one of the images that he put on the screen was 50 plus, and I think it's really interesting. That Errol II shared that you, Errol Sr., had created the EY Parker Logistics at 50 because our there's never not an opportunity to keep fulfilling our dreams. And so you all have been truly, truly inspiration. If people would like to follow your work, support your ventures, or reach out, if they want to collaborate, of course they can connect on Black on the Platform, which I'll drop in the chat. But what else do you recommend for them to contact you?
Son,
yes, anyone could reach out to us on our website, eyparkercompanies.com, and under the contact us section that we have, you can submit an inquiry with your name, email, and it'll be sent straight to us, and we'll respond promptly. So
and we're
that's the
both
best
on
way. And I'm
LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn. Yes, yes,
Yes.
I'm on LinkedIn as well. Happy to connect, and we can exchange correspondence via DM. So
Excellent. And so, of course, I recommend they connect through Black on the Platform. You're listed there with your website
awesome.
and they connect to your socials as well. I appreciate your time and your energy. I'm just going to say my goodbyes and I think I'll just keep you on here with me. Thank you for joining. For my viewing audience, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a new spotlight. Ready to share your own story? Visit blackontheplatform.com to join our growing community of Black owned brilliance. I'm Jen S., your concierge of connection, reminding you visibility creates opportunity, and we're here to help you shine. Until next time, stay bold, stay Black, and always stay building. Thank you so much.
Thank you.